Talking point with many of Europe's top clubs chasing the Crystal Palace captain. Today, Oliver Glasner was once again asked about his skipper's situation.
Will he be in the squad?
Yes, he will start.
He's going to start tomorrow. So I presume there's been no new bids or offers from anyone this season, and he's, as you said, on Wednesday.
Exactly.
I feel like we're going to be talking about Marc Guehi a lot. Where could he go?
In the Premier League, I think he could end up at Liverpool. He could end up at Manchester City. He could end up at Arsenal. Abroad, you're talking about clubs like Bayern Munich.
Are you talking in this window or are you talking in the summer?
Both. I think what's happening at the moment is that intermediaries, advisors are talking behind the scenes to try and get him on a free transfer in the summer. At the same time, I think what's happening is some clubs are trying to steal a march and get him this January, because I think they feel that there is a deal there to be done with Crystal Palace, because Crystal Palace don't want to lose him for nothing in the summer. Having said that, it would make sense for Crystal Palace to keep him, because losing him would potentially affect where they finish in the Premier League, which would affect how much money they get at the end of the season. It would also affect their form in Europe. If they win the conference, the next couple of weeks, a Premier League club will make a bid for him. And I think that bid will be somewhere between probably 20 and 30 million pounds. Remember, last summer, Palace were almost willing to sell him for 35 million pounds, but obviously he's got less time left on his contract now, so he would be available for less than 35. But I think it's really interesting that clubs are sort of jockeying for position, but you've always got to remember some clubs will try and get him now, other clubs will be waiting until the summer. But at the end of the day, who can guess what's in his mind? It's up to him to decide which club he wants to go to, where he wants to live, who he wants to play for. And we've kind of seen this situation before, you know, when clubs like Liverpool, Manchester City, Manchester United, Arsenal get involved. A lot of it is to do with the personal connection. You know, if he ends up talking to those managers, what they sell to him, how they see his role in their team, and of course, the money. I don't think Marc is somebody who's motivated by money, but obviously the size of the contract will be a consideration as well.
What do you know Palace really well. What do you think their preference would be in this situation?
A few summers ago, we reported, was it 3 or 4 bids at Newcastle United, and that went up to nearly £70 million. Brendan Johnson had a meeting with Oliver Glasner about joining Crystal Palace. If I'm Brennan, I'd probably say to Oliver Glasner, well, for that me joining, you staying. And if they lost Marc Guehi this month, it might just all but decide how Oliver Glasner feels, the ultra-ambitious Oliver Glasner. What I'd say about Palace is they get most things right and getting things wrong. That's why they're an established Premier League side. When people say, oh, they always finish 12th, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Because they end up winning a cup. They won the Community Shield. For me, Crystal Palace have got a great chance of winning the Conference League, another European trip, if Marc Guehi stays. Marc Guehi also is an ultra-religious man. He always looks at things and says everything happens for a reason. His behaviour last summer was impeccable. He scored at Aston Villa the night before deadline day for them to win for Palace at Aston Villa. You're dealing with a great human being, not just a great player. And that's what any club is going to get. He can just, he's not laughing, but he can relax. He can just enjoy his football at the moment. The only thing I'd say is he probably doesn't want it to go over to when he's got his England hat on for the World Cup. That's what I'd say. But for me, Crystal Palace are much better off with him rather than receiving £25 million now.
Crystal Palace boss Oliver Glasner, meanwhile, thinks that Marc Guehi will stay at the club this transfer window. Liverpool remain interested in Guehi, along with Manchester City, who are weighing up fast-tracking their summer plans to sign a centre-back after Joško Vardiol fractured his leg.
Every single player, I think, has his... there is a surprise where a club will sell him. So when you are Crystal Palace, maybe because we are not at the end of the food chain in football. So and I didn't say anything more. So for me, it was a little bit surprising what was made out of it, because it's exactly the same situation like in summer. I think that Marc will stay, but if Marc says I want to leave and the club pays massive money with 6 or 5 months left of contract, every player will leave, yeah, if you're playing for a club like Crystal Palace, because then you can't afford it. But I'm pretty sure our chairman will ask a very high price for him, and then let's see. And I don't know if Marc wants to leave. So right now, when I see him playing, when I see him training, when I see his commitment, when we are talking quite often together, then I think the fans can be really calm. But yeah, you never know what will happen in football.
Bit of breaking news to bring you. West Bromwich Albion are in talks with former Manchester United coach Eric Ramsey over the possibility of him becoming their new manager. Ramsey is currently in charge at Minnesota FC in the MLS. He's been linked with a whole host of jobs in England's top 2 divisions in recent years. West Brom lost, didn't they, against Leicester in the Championship on Monday night. They find themselves 7 points above the bottom 3. So interested in the former Manchester United coach Eric Ramsey for the role at the Hawthorns. Ashley Williams, Chris Reedy still with me. Let's pick up and talk about Marc Guehi, shall we? We've heard from Oliver Glasner there. Normally, very defiant. He's not going anywhere. It's a slightly less purposeful than it has been. What do you do if you're Steve Parish, Ash, right now? Do you cash in? Do you take 20, 25 mil right now? Or do you say, do you know what? We keep him. We're still in Europe. We don't know how many Premier League places we can climb when we sort this out in the summer.
Well, that's the question, is it? What is their aim, Crystal Palace, this season? Are they going to get back into Europe? Possibly not. I don't think so. So in terms of that, and when you're talking about owners of football clubs, 30 million, 25 million pounds is a lot of money. Or he walks at the end of the season for free. I don't think that, keeping him, even with Marc Guehi, they're definitely a better team with him, don't get me wrong, but they could take that 25, 30 million and go and reinvest it and get something in January to help them still finish strong this season. So, I think that the player will probably, after the last transfer window didn't go, I think he'll probably want to move in January, and I think the club it seems sensible for them to do it now.
And look, it seems sensible, so Chris, just to say, for both clubs, for Liverpool, Manchester City, obviously with Konate out of contract at the summer at Anfield, but all the injuries that you listed about 20 minutes or so ago from a Manchester City point of view, with Vardiol potentially out for the rest of the season, Diaz is a hamstring, which is going to be at least sort of 6 weeks. I just wanted to ask this, Ash, just take us behind the curtain, if you can, because, look, I know it's not glamorous talking about money and so on, but he will be in a position where a lot of that fee that could happen in January could go in his back pocket as a signing on fee, whether that's from Real Madrid or Bayern Munich or all the other teams outside the Premier League as well. But how does that work from a player's point of view?
Well, you just got to factor all of that in, because at the end of the day, all football players start out playing football because you love it, like we all do, and you still love your job, but it is your job, it pays your bills, and you're going to try and do the best for you and your family financially as well. So you, as well as wanting to win things, wanting to fight for the league, he's in a position where he could go to a team that's fighting for the Premier League, playing in the Champions League. He also wants to earn as much money as he can. So is it better for him to maybe stay, take a little bit of the money at the end of the season to go now, or it just got to factor it all.
What would Williams do right now? You're in that situation.
I'm not privy to the conversations that he is right now.
You've got the options of anyone. Where you go?
Yeah, well, listen, I've always said.
You've already said with Semenyo, you'd go and play for Pep.
I've always said if I've got a chance to play under Pep Guardiola, I want to do that, even if it's for half a season. So that's where I'd be right now, especially with the 2 injuries that they've got. I know I'm going to go straight into that team. The World Cup's coming. I want to be in a team that's at the top of the league, playing week in, week out.
Yeah, Chris, go on. So you were going to say?
I was going to say it's really interesting with Oliver Glasner, because he seems to have given like a different answer kind of each time he's been asked. I was in a press conference about a week or so ago where he said he didn't know what was going to happen. I think then maybe in the next press conference he said it's a possibility he might leave. Then in the last night he said, actually, I think he's going to stay. And I genuinely think that's just because he just doesn't actually know right now, because this kind of situation with Marc Guehi is just so fluid. If Liverpool really want to come in and go big guns for him, fair enough. Like you said, if Pep Guardiola decides to put in an offer, how hard is that to turn down? If Marc Guehi, like we were talking with Jody Morris, weren't we, the other day, if he suddenly decides actually Real Madrid and Barcelona are really keen and they're serious about that, it's just so fluid. So I generally think it could go any way, this transfer.
Yeah. What about Crystal Palace in terms of their search for a right back? We know that Daniel Munoz is out injured, and he's been such a big player for Oliver Glasner. Brennan Johnson, we don't know where he might play. We know he's a right winger, but could he fill in and be a right wing back for Glasner? What else are they looking at, Chris?
Yeah, I think Justin Devaney played there for Crystal Palace last night, like you said, with kind of no recognised right back. But we do know that they're interested in signing Zakaria El Ouadi from Genk. He's Moroccan international, and he's one of a number of options that they're looking for in that position. At the moment, though, we believe that significant talks have yet to take place. So, yeah, look, that's, like you said, Munoz has been such an influential player in that kind of right wing-back position for Crystal Palace. So that's definitely an area that we know they're looking to target, Will.
Right,